there, it's Carol with Carol B Crafts. Today we'll be doing project number 5 in my Candy Cane Season monthly club kit. You can get the details on how you can participate in my monthly club kits on my website www.cutstampcreateclub.com. You can also check out our Facebook group Cut Stamp Create Club. For this project, you'll need the Candy Cane Season stamps and the coordinating punch. This comes as a bundle in the 2018 holiday catalog. If you don't have the kit, the club kit, don't worry, I'll give you the dimensions and supplies as we go along so that you can make these two adorable note cards with us. Now you'll need 2 mini note cards, and these are 5 by 4.5, so you could use just a regular piece of thick whisper white that was 5 by 4.5 and score it in the middle. And then when you buy the set of 20 note cards, you'll get also 20 envelopes, and I'll put the name and number, the correct name and number on the screen for you. So for this card we'll need 2 3/8 by 4 3/8 garden green, 2 1/8 by 4 1/8 poppy parade, 2 by 4 DSP with the hollies. For stamping you'll need a 2 by 2 inch piece of whisper white, and for stamping the bow you're going to need a piece of 1 3/4 by 4 poppy parade. To cut the inside circle here, you'll need the 2nd and 3rd largest circles dies from the Layering Circles framelits, and you'll need 3 of the red basic jewel rhinestones. To make this card, you'll need Poppy Parade cardstock, 2 3/8 by 4 3/8, Whisper White, 2 1/8 by 4 1/8, another piece of Whisper White, 2 by 2, and then you'll need a piece of Poppy Parade, the 2nd smallest scallop circle die. You're going to need a 4-inch piece of the Poppy Parade mini striped ribbon and one of the small enamel shapes. And then to trim the circle, once you've stamped it, you'll need the 2nd largest circle die in the Layering Circles framelits. We're going to start with our stamping, and you'll need the Poppy Parade and Garden Green ink. I'm going to use my Stamparatus. I'm going to stamp the candy cane in the center of my 2 by 2 piece of Whisper White. Next I'm going to put my For You stamp in the center of the candy canes and stamp that in Poppy Parade. Now I'm going to take the other 2 by 2 inch piece of Whisper White and I'm going to stamp on it. First I'm going to stamp the holly leaves. Now we're going to use 2 stamps. We're going to use the solid stamp and then the outline stamp. We'll stamp first with the solid stamp. So we'll kind of put it there in the corner. Now if you remember, we want to get 2 tones. We want to get a lighter green and a darker green. And the way we get the lighter green is to take an old bone folder or a rounded part of a spoon, and we're going to push our ink to the side, and we'll see the color change too. When we see the lighter green, we'll know that we've pushed enough ink away that we'll get a lighter green on our stamped image. So there's our light green. Now we're going to line up the outline part of the stamp over the light stamped image. So we're going to ink up our outline stamp And we're going to stamp that a few times till we get a darker image. And now we're going to put our For You here, and we want to make sure that we get it close enough that when we cut it with our die, and be careful because your die is going to want to jump over there on your magnet, just make sure you're going to have enough room to fit all that in your circle. We're going to stamp that with Poppy Parade. Now we're done with that stamping. And then the other stamping that we have to do is on the Whisper White for this card. And it is the 2 1/8 by 4 1/8 piece of Whisper White. And we're going to use the Ho 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 stamp. That's this long stamp here. We want to make sure that our H is on the right. We're going to fit that in the center, starting about 1/4 of an inch from the top, maybe 3/8 of an inch from the top, and making sure that it's even on the sides, same distances from the side, and also straight. And then we're just going to pick that up. We're going to use Poppy Parade ink on this. So now we have our first row of Ho Ho Ho. Now we're going to clean off our stamp and reposition it. Now before we stamp the rest, we're going to either need to mask it with a piece of paper, just scratch paper, or you can use a sticky note, one of these notepad notes, and cover up about 3/8 of an inch from the bottom. About the same distance that you started stamping at the top, like that. Then we're going to take our, with the H on the right, and we're just going to line this up. Now it doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be covered up by our ribbon and our design. So just try to make sure you get the sides straight. That's going to be your most important aspect here. And when you're happy with it, just pick it up. And now we have the rest of our Ho Ho Ho. Now you'll need a piece of 1 3/4 by 4 inch Poppy Parade, and that is going to be to stamp this bow in Poppy Parade ink. We're using the outline bow, and we're going to stamp it on the right so that we can punch it out. We'll have something to hold on to when we punch it out. So lastly, we're going to stamp the images on the envelopes. We have one with the bow and one that says Be Jolly, and it has holly leaves. So we'll do the bow first, and we'll place that down here. We'll get our outline stamp out again. Put it in place. We're going to stamp that with Poppy Parade. We'll get our other envelope out and stamp the Be Jolly. First we'll stamp the outline of the holly leaves, and we're just going to do that kind of here in the top corner, and we're going to stamp that with Garden Green. And there's a stamp that has 3 holly berries, and we're going to just 1 berry on one side and 2 on the other side of the stem. We'll stamp those in Poppy Parade. And lastly, we'll stamp Be Jolly. Okay, we have our envelopes for our cards. Now it's time to punch out our ribbon, our bow, right here with our punch. And we'll feed from the right. We're going to take our smaller, the second smallest circle die, and center our candy canes, and then we're going to put a piece of tape on the outside of the circle and run it through our big shot. That's going to go on the ends, on top of our second smallest scalloped circle from the Layering Circles framelits. So we'll go ahead and start putting this together. We'll find our valley and fold, and crease our fold with our bone folder. We're going to put our ho 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 on top of our Poppy Parade. Next we're going to put our ribbon around our panel, and let's see, we want to mark 1.5 inches on the back. We'll use a pencil. And that will tell us where to put our adhesive. I'm going to put a square of adhesive there above and on that mark. So I'll take my 4-inch piece of mini striped ribbon, I'll have even spacing on each end. Find my mark and push my ribbon into that adhesive to make it stay in place. So now my ribbon is in the front where it needs to be. And we're going to put this on top of our note card. We're going to put this on over our ribbon with mini dimensionals. And we want to put the mini dimensionals at the top so that it doesn't interfere with the ribbon. So I have my dimensionals. I'm just going to place that over in the center. And then lastly, I will put my bow up here in the corner. Okay, that's our first card finished. Now we need to do the other card. Now for the other card, you can see that we have our green, and then we have the red, and we have the holly berry. So what we need to do first is we need to cut with the third largest circle. We need to cut about 3/4 of the inch from the top. And we can use some tape to hold that in place when we cut it. So that was our third smallest, in other words, third from the smallest circle in the Layering Circles framelits. Now we're going to go ahead and adhere this to our Poppy Parade. I'm going to use some glue so that I can move it around if necessary, because it's kind of tricky to get it just perfectly in place. We'll let that dry just a little bit. And once that's dry, we're going to use the second smallest circle die, and we're going to center it inside there in the cut that we just made, tape it in place, and then we're going to put it through the Big Shot. Okay, that was our second smallest Layering Circle framelit. Now we're going to center this here where we like it, and if it sticks over, we may have to trim it a little bit, but not too much because you don't want it to show past here. So it's good to have it so that the stem is like right there. So when you have it where you think you want it, you can put some glue on the back here around the circle. Just little dots of glue to hold that in place. And then you're going to lay this down over and hold it till it dries. And while that's drying, we'll go ahead and get our other card base, find our valley and fold, increase that fold. Now we're going to put this on top of our piece of garden green. And next we're going to put this on our card base. Next we're going to put our bow in place, and we're going to put it down here with some glue dots. And lastly we'll put our red rhinestones on. Okay, we are finished with our 2 adorable mini note cards, project number 5, in my Candy Cane Season monthly club kit. Check out my website, www.cutstampcreateclub.com, to find out how you can participate in my monthly club kits. Thanks for watching. Bye now.